Here's my chamber guide on Breeze. This is reworked Breeze. Some things are different from my old guide. Although the old guide still has some good things in it. I will also be talking about some other things you can do, or some new things I've learned since then too. And things that are only important for the reworked Breeze, or like only relevant to the reworked Breeze, mainly in mid. But on A, there are a couple setups that are still you can do. For instance, when the barrier drops, you can still place your trap here. And because you never need to place your trap here, now we actually have some bit of freedom with chamber where to put his trap. A lot more freedom at least. So you can wait for the barrier to drop and put that there, and then you can go mid. I wouldn't really recommend this because a lot of the time when they go mid, I think A is quite a hit site a lot, so you probably don't want to just put the trip there. You want to be like populating that space. You may want to put like your trip down here, or put your trip where the barrier is, on doors if you want to. Bear in mind this is wall bangable, so they can shoot it from the other side if they hear it basically. So not the greatest, but you can still do it that way. Places to place your rendezvous. Things like this can be quite good. So the reason why this is good is that you can play like this position, right? And if you get more info that they're not really here, or there's barely anyone here, like you can take this risk. Like on certain rounds, you can take this risk, and you can go play in this corner, which I find is quite strong because not many people are going to check this corner initially, especially if you kind of catch a timing where they don't expect you to be in the off angle there. If you're worried about the corner specifically, you can do like this wide off angle over here. Bear in mind they will see you first if they're on the wide. So if they're over here really wide, they'll see you first. So you don't really have the greatest advantage. If they are here, then you'll see them first. So you might have an advantage against people close. And generally people don't go against the back wall, so you should be fine with this one. There's also another one you can do as well, that usually I do versus like heavy A pushes a lot, and they do have like Viper wall, that goes across like this. I'm gonna play in this corner with this TP, and I'm gonna get the first kill here, and then I'm gonna TP here, and at this point, I would have already pre-planned this. I would have asked my KO to flash this, or I would have asked for the flash as soon as I TP or something. To flash this. Obviously it's not always doable, right? You need to make sure you make use of your teammates. Util, you're playing chamber, right? So you don't really have the greatest util at your disposal. So you need to make sure you're vocal and you talk to your team about what you want. Because you can't just like free swing this into like probably 3 players, maybe 2, through a Viper wall. It's not going to work out for you. Another TP you can have as well is over here. You'll be surprised at how many, so with ult as well, especially this one's good, is that you'll be surprised how many people peek before the Viper wall goes up. So you can abuse someone that is just maybe being a bit too aggressive before the wall goes up, and they'll probably get flamed by their team. And that will happen, honestly, it happens in my elo, so it will happen in yours. That's for sure, that's for certain. So in mid, so if I play mid, I don't like playing doors. The reason why I don't like playing doors is because this corner and this corner are both closer to me. So the person on this back wall actually sees me first. So I don't particularly like this angle. I don't particularly like this angle anymore. If I do want to play it, I'll place my TP here, and I'll try and walk into this angle. And even though it's terrible, like it's not the greatest, you very rarely get checked. Some people are a bit late, so that you actually catch the timing, you go into the corner, and then they won't expect you here, and they'll probably die to you. And also another good thing to note with this play in particular as well, is that if you do manage to get into this corner, sometimes nowadays with the rework, Viper walls will go like diagonally down here. Sorry, like go kind of like in this sort of line, and you might have a Viper to play a crossfire with here. So if she actually, so either she will go off your contact and maybe spray through this box a bit, so if she needs to, or you'll go off her contact, or like not really off her contact. You'll be watching this, but there's sometimes like if they know that she's there for whatever reason, or like maybe she's fought someone on this wall that you didn't see, and then she's like trying to tuck in. If someone tries to shoot her from here, then you've got the vision on them, so you can punish them. So that's pretty good to note with this sort of spot. So you can combine with your Viper in mid. It's actually really, really strong to play defense, like play quite aggressive as defense in mid, because this sort of choke point and this choke point make it so, and this jump up make it very, very difficult for the attackers to get through mid, without like putting like smokes here, like actually committing proper util flashes and everything. Before they could just take you with a recon and a flash. Now it's not that simple. Next we'll go over to B and sort of B mid sort of tunnel. I very rarely play this position, especially with the new Breeze. I think this position sucks on new Breeze. The only time I ever play it is if I'm playing Sova and I want to dart that early on, and usually that doesn't happen that often anyway. So you know, I'd very rarely play that position. Obviously, there's probably some other agents that would like that position. I played it on KO today actually a tiny bit, but I didn't like it. So just to try it, and it didn't work out for me. I didn't particularly like it. So next on chamber, we are going to go tunnel. So I don't really play tunnel a huge amount. When I do play tunnel, it's because we like ecoing maybe, and I'm making a play. So I'm going to put my TP there. You can put it anywhere you kind of want to. As long as it has this sort of like bit that comes out, you will be taking your first fight here. So you want to be careful. If you do take a fight here, you want to be quite careful. You want to make sure you're not committing too hard. And if you do find a fight, don't commit and you want to run back. If you don't find anyone here, you can take the risk to try and get back into your like TP, and then you're going to just clear as normal if you want to, or you can just hold an off angle like this. Very rarely, like, will people that are going B main, they won't check this like this. Sometimes I do, but not always, especially because you're on the stairs as well, so it's not like normal head height really. So it's really hard for them to like retaliate against this. Even if they are watching for you, it's not exactly the easiest shot either. But then you can get one of them away. You can also clear this as well. So you can also run away, TP away. You can also clear it as well, and just try and get like a nice off angle like this, There is a better one you can do from B, which I'll show as well, from B main. There's plenty of variations to this one too. There's one here as well, which is a bit safer. You get a bit more space over here. And there's also this one, which is a bit less safe versus B main players, but you get a lot more space to play with. So you actually get like this nice position, which is good from walking in B main. So you want this type of position. This position is one of the strongest ones for chamber to play aggressive on as defense. One defense when you're playing aggressive here, you have a massive line. You can see you might hear like some pro players and like some coaches, whatever, talk about op lines or operator like holding lines for the operator, right? This is the same concept, right? And we're holding like an amazing line right now, because we basically have control of this sort of area of the map. They can't cross to B very easily. The only way they can go is through mid. So as long as you've got some teammates have presence in mid, you have B completely. As long like the weakness is that they can go mid and through elbow, and don't forget you do have your trap, so you can place a trap early like here or like somewhere around tunnel, right? So you don't get flanked through tunnel. But then elbow is still open, and you can't really do anything about that being pre-round. So what you could do is that if you do have like time, you think you have time, you can place your trap like this if you want to, instead of this trap. Just so you don't get flanked elbow, but then it's just the same problem. You get flanked from tunnel. Tunnel is probably a bit easier to deal with because more likely your teammates will notice it. But yeah, I think there is definitely plays to be there. You just need to make sure you communicate with the team what you want to do and what you want to be covered, so then you don't have to worry about those things. And that's pretty much it for B. I don't really play too much on B site that much. If I do play B site, it's going to be with my op, or it's going to be with an op, with this op, or with the ball op, and I'm playing something like this. Maybe I'll play it an off angle up here. I didn't make the jump. I'm actually not sure if that jump is doable. Maybe I'll play an off angle up here, and we go for this fight instead. That is also a possibility. And that's kind of like how I'll be playing. Maybe TP will go here actually, rather than around that wall. And yeah, that's kind of it for defense actually. There's not really too much I do on defense that's like crazy. Usually it's just on ecos. I'm going to try and find pushes. On some equal rounds, I'll try and find pushes if I think they're going to go heavy A, and then retake, and then go back to B and re-clear B. I'll like this angle, for instance, and that's kind of it really. You're just going to be trying to take some nice space when you can, and be aggressive. That's kind of how you play chamber on defense. So we'll go on to attack. I didn't really talk about retakes on defense. Sorry, I just want to quickly point out I didn't talk about retakes that much. The reason why is because most of the time it's quite contextual, and you'll be placing your rendezvous in certain places, and you might have trap, you might not. If you do have trap, you can use it to clear. If you don't, then you don't. You know, retaking is like fairly straightforward on chamber. On attack, so on A, usually place our rendezvous here, because what happens is that you can play here basically the entire round, if you go A. You also will be placing your trap here. There's no need to place it in this sort of area anymore because this doesn't exist. There's no rotation that they can make, no flank they can make through. So you will be placing your trap there, and then you can play in this sort of angle for the entire round. You can risk playing over here as well if you think mid is like really clear. Maybe you have a Viper that's lurked up. However, this trap becomes then kind of a bit void potentially because it's unlikely they'll go here and not fight this Viper. They'll go flank and not fight with the Viper. So you can go here, or like I just assume it's a Viper, lurking there. But yeah, basically If you do have a lurk in mid, you can take these type of positions, probably fighting this first. That is a possibility. Although if you do have anyone mid, it probably should be you in this map. If you are the only sentinel, that's for sure anyway, because then you have a lot more map control. So for instance, if we go mid, if I go mid and my teammates go A, then I'm going to place my trap like this. Maybe not quite like that, a bit further back. This. And I'm going to place my rendezvous here, and I'm going to just like fight mid. And what's happening is I have mid and I also have B, right? They can technically updraft in these windows and things. That's possible. Like satchel in, that's whatever, right? I would have to read that with the game and like think like Jet plays B a lot, so I can't really rely on this trap, etc, etc. They have a raise that plays B. I shouldn't be doing this. Basically, is what the read will be. But if you don't have any of that stuff that can happen, then this is not really strong. You're gonna have and like passive info B, and you're gonna have active info A. Oh no, mid, and then you're gonna have 4 players going A. And you'll be able to like cut off a rotation. If they go B, so if your teammates go B and you want to go mid and then you want to defend A, the best trap is this one. So you want to be careful. The problem with this trap is that they can fight you sometimes before the trap sees. So you want to be careful you don't populate this like small area here. You want to be like kind of over here when you do this trap. The reason why is because you can like catch people off guard running up through doors and things like that a lot easier as well on this angle. It is a bit harder to take this angle, so you might want to ask a Viper to place a smoke here, or something like that, or orb at the start of the round. I have a lineup for it on my shorts if you want to go look at that. Yeah, that's basically it. That's how you're going to play sort of attack in mid. Sometimes you'll have friends with you, and if you have friends with you, you just want to choose which side really that you're going to go. If you're going to end B, I would recommend putting the trap over here. If you're going to end A, I recommend putting it over here. The reason why is because it just guards you from long flanks from places you don't have presence. That's kind of it for mid. If you do go up mid, like up mid, then the problem is with chamber, like it's hard for me to explain like some of these parts of the guys. Like there's not really that much you really have to do in particular. A lot of it is gunplay here, and then you might place like your TP here if you're going B. If you're like playing B, not on there, not on here though, because this will happen. You're gonna place it like this, making sure that it won't kill you. By the way, they can actually see your head on the top bit here. If they stand up, they can actually see your head if you stand up here, so you want to make sure you're crouched if you're like trying to hide there. Just thought that you know that's on every agent. So yeah, that's basically it for some mid. You can also do some rotations through mid nest, like some flanks through mid nest, usually going to A instead of B. If you're going B, then on your mid you probably will just be fighting tunnel. If you want to go A and you go through mid, you can go all the way up here. You can usually go through doors too, but if you want a really, really long flank, then you can go through mid nest. Very rarely does that happen though, and on this version of the map, it's really hard to lurk, I think, because a lot of the nice, first of all, the nice route to lurk through has been taken away, and a lot of angles have been introduced, like this mid angle, and you know some horrible angles basically in mid, and it's really easy for defense to have control of mid, so it's really hard to kind of lurk through. Next we go over on B. It's be the last one we go over on attack and for the guide. If we go B, there's not really great places to trap. There's 2 traps you can do. So there's this one for elbow, which is fine. You can hide around the corner if you want to, but it doesn't really matter a huge amount because they will have to shoot it anyway, so you'll hear it. It doesn't actually matter. They can shoot it early, I guess, and like fake someone's there. So you do want to try and hide it. You can. Bear in mind it will give you way less info, so someone can be fighting over here in this off angle and not trigger this, so you want to be careful that this one doesn't like screw you over. You can put it at the bottom of the stairs over here, which is probably the nicest one out of all of them, because they can't really see it from here. They have to commit to the top of the stairs before they can run away, so it's just an extra time sink they have. They might actually decide to then commit to the flank because of it. Potentially, depends on the time that they hit the time frame they think they have. And then when we're actually going into B, actually sorry, no, let's talk about the trap. Sorry. So the trap is here. It's quite precise, as you can see on the map, that I need to get it so it touches this corner and this wall, which I've actually got it quite there right now. And basically what it will do is it will slightly trigger on people going this way. Bear in mind, lots of people don't realize the full, won't realize that this is like kind of in range, just about in range. So a lot of people will actually just shoot anyway. But very few people might realize that they can just strafe past it like this. And only trigger for like point something of a second. So you make sure that, you know, sometimes this one can light you a tiny bit. It's also really easy to smoke off for like jets. So it's not the greatest either for that sense as well. It also doesn't protect you from elbow, so you need to have some sort of mid control. But it will protect you from the actual 2 flanks, which is nice to have. And then the actual rendezvous for B, this one's probably the best one. You just sort of end up taking this sort of off angle, usually quite hit like this. When the smokes go down, you get a nice deep angle. Sometimes people would have already passed you, but you can also play like this as well. And then TP away. There's also one here, but you want to be really careful that you don't have... You need to have mid control once again, or like some sort of understanding that they're not mid. So, you know, you hit them all CT, then you can do this one. And actually, no, sorry, not this one. This one.
That's not ready.
I don't want to talk about that one. This one. So what this one does is it allows you to go tunnel. And sit on this off angle here. It isn't the greatest. Because you need to be fairly certain they're CT. And what you do get to fight, your actual TP destination is quite far away from the bomb probably. So you might have to like do some running to get to main, to then contest the bomb if it's planted. And then that brings me to like post plant. And on post plant, you're going to be quite far away most of the time when you've got operator or your ult. Otherwise, you're going to be playing range rendezvous. So you're going to have a rendezvous here, and usually try and wait for your rendezvous to be up if you can before you fight off the post plant. So then you can maybe get a first kill for free. And that's pretty much it. I won't talk about actually I will talk about post plant on A real quick as well. So post plant on A, once again, you're going to be sitting really far back if it's planted for you and you've gone up really. You're going to be trying to like use that distance to your advantage. And once again, play around the rendezvous you have. As I said on A before, you can kind of play here for the whole round with this rendezvous, and yeah, we're going to stick true to that. Maybe you can play over here and hold any angles we need to. Maybe shoot someone through smoke over here, because our wall will probably go across here. And maybe you can use the mini-map if someone has pushed past it. Push through, kill through the smoke. Kill people on stairs, maybe as well. When the smokes go down, you can maybe go for a free kill on stairs and keep you away. Things like that are really nice, because you do want to be taking quite an early fight, because then you will have your rendezvous back on post. If you wait so long to take a fight, it might be that you can only TP once or twice in the round instead of like 3 times. Obviously don't try and force a fight if you don't need to. Like if you're in a really good situation and you don't need to fight, like you're in a 4v1, 4v2 against like lower gun, then you probably don't need to go peek the marshal or the sheriff or whatever. And that's pretty much it for the chamber guide. Hopefully it wasn't too like all over the place. I think I did a decent job explaining some of the things. If you do want another like chamber guide, you can go look to my other one as well. My other one is a bit outdated. It's on the old breeze, but there are some things that are probably still valuable and useful on that one. Mainly what I'll take away on this one is that the stuff to do with mid is different, very different. Some of the stuff to do with B side that I've talked about it might be very different. I don't think I really play that much B anyway. So also some of the stuff might have actually been before Chambers rework. So there's going to be like double rendezvous. So my single rendezvous on this map that I've showed on this one will be the one that you go with. Basically, you can't do double rendezvous anymore. So that's it for the guide, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next one.